Two. This is getting to be a habit. Some challenges with Facebook not playing nice. Anyway, good morning and welcome. This is the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network, and today's topic is disenchantment. So, means kind of waking up out of a spell, even though we might consider that it has to do with disappointment. Good morning, Kim. Thank you so much for being here. We're talking about disenchantment this morning. And I got bounced just a minute ago, so we didn't get to do a new connection exercise. So let's just take a second or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it, and just allow that energy of life and light and oxygen and vitality to course through your whole body, your whole being, and beyond. And as you exhale, just exhale any tension. And then let's just gently press our palms together and softly rub your fingers against your palms so that you can become present here right now into the experience of your body. And now we get to talk about disenchantment, because disenchantment is not disappointment, actually. It is waking up out from a magic spell, or waking up from a dream in a way. And the same with disillusion is waking up to an illusion. Rather than being disappointed, it's actually waking up to the reality of something. Good morning, John. Welcome. So glad to have you here. Good morning, Dido. Welcome, welcome. Really glad to have you all here. So, and everybody else that's joining us, let's talk about disenchantment, because I'm of the mind that we kind of live under a spell in many ways, or many spells. And these are our cultural norms that we accept without question, because that's what seems to be. And the story that comes to mind is the Emperor's New Clothes to me, where the emperor was naked or was wearing undergarments and had no clothes, and it took a child to point that out, to see what was there, because everyone else in the town or the village was completely under the enchantment of of the story that the emperor's clothes were so fine and so beautiful that only those of higher spirit or whatever could see them, and nobody wanted to admit to it until the child just pointed out what the truth was. And there's some beauty in that story too. And then it was a child who was seeing the world without the enchantments and the filters that we as adults are acclimated to. So I'm wondering if you can help me out here, and let's look at places in our lives where we have been under a spell, under enchantment. The thing that comes to mind most immediately for me is advertising. And advertising is designed to enchant and weave a spell. And if we look more deeply, for instance, at advertising, the messages that we're receiving are that we're not enough without these things, or there's something wrong with us that these things or products that are available can correct, or that so there's a multi-layered message happening in our advertising. It's not just saying, hey, here's a great product. It's saying, here's a great product that you need because you're deficient in this or that or the other area, or this is going to elevate your status, or because your status isn't high enough, or is the underlying message, or this is going to give you more beautiful hair because beautiful hair is where it's at. And funny, I'm talking about hair here. And I'm just thinking of all these ways that we are under a spell, where, and in fact, I'm just going to speak about this from perspective of last night. Some of you may know that I have a podcast with my co-founder Scott Billy, and it's called Sustainability Now. And on Thursday nights, we have a movie night where people from all over the world show up, and we screen either our interviews or a movie. And we've been very fortunate lately to have live speakers joining us, people that are either the people that we've interviewed or that are involved somehow with the movies that we're showing. And it's really been a wonderful forum. And so last night, we had an interview and a live discussion with a woman named Dr. Stephanie Seneff, who is a senior research scientist at MIT. And she is very, very, very knowledgeable and schooled. And we were talking about glyphosate. And glyphosate is a chemical that you may have heard of, roundup. It is used, it's an herbicide, or it is pervasive in big agriculture. And the belief is, the common belief is that it is safe. And the research says otherwise. So, but the common belief, like the masses, have been enchanted to believe that it's safe. And this makes me think of cigarettes, for instance. Years and years ago, when cigarettes were really being promoted, they were being promoted by doctors. There were people saying that it was good for you to smoke. And so that was an enchantment that was propagated upon the culture, the general culture. And it took years and lots of research and lots of lawsuits and lots of deaths to be able to make inroads into that conventional belief and that enchantment. So I'm wondering if you guys can help me out here and help to expose some of the enchantments we've been subject to, and how we go about becoming disenchanted so that we get to see what's really there. Because at this moment in time in our history, it's more important than ever that we are alert and aware to the or alert to and aware of the influences in our culture that are enchanting us, so that hopefully we can become disenchanted and more awake to to the realities of our contemporary world. Uh, there are many health issues that are up for up for scrutiny. One of the things that was so alarming in this conversation about glyphosate, and it's in our food. It's used so pervasively that unless we're on a strict organic diet, it's likely that our food is contaminated with glyphosate. And the interesting thing, one of the many interesting things in this interview, which you'll be able to see on our website, by the way, at sustainabilitynow.global, probably will be launched over this weekend, but keep an eye out for it. But there's been a meteoric rise in autism, and the path of the increase of autism is in direct parallel, like 99% correlation with the increase in use of glyphosate. And as are other diseases, like this curve in terms of an increase is mirrored in many different diseases. It's something that we need to be alert to and that we need to stop. and we can influence this. There are lawsuits that have been won recently about a form of cancer. I'm forgetting which form of cancer, but there was a lawsuit that was a triumphant lawsuit linking glyphosate to cancer. But the thing that made me think about disenchantment was that uh, Dr. Seneff said that most recently during this COVID crisis, there was another increase in the numbers for autism in New Jersey. 1 in 20 children has autism, and this is a meteoric rise. It's a really terrifying statistic that people were completely unaware of. And she said, I don't understand why nobody is sounding the alarm about this. It's more important, it's more significant even than this COVID crisis in certain ways. And um, I think I think we need to become disenchanted, to start recognizing that the news that we're getting or the information that we're receiving is incomplete and is not necessarily prioritizing things that are extremely important to us. And the impact of in this instance, glyphosate on our well-being and our health is really important. So the thing that we want to understand is I'm you're getting me in a moment of my passion, but this is what we're doing to our environment and to our future is critically important to me. And Dido, thank you so much for posting the sustainabilitynow.global website. I invite you to check it out. These are important issues, and this glyphosate thing, there's stuff we can do about it. There are ways that we can attempt to remediate it for ourselves. There are supplements that we can take to help mitigate it, and most importantly, we can take action with our legislators. And there are a number of organizations. One is Moms for America that you might want to check out if you want to get active uh, in this mission to stop the use of glyphosate globally. Um, there's a lot for us to be aware of, and I had a communication from one of our Sustainability Now followers about bad news, and how the there's a correlating rise in depression and mental health issues around uh, situations that are occurring in the world, and particularly the learned helplessness that we have been enchanted into. Okay, so we're talking about disenchantment and enchantment, and we have been, a spell has been cast upon many of us to believe that we don't have a voice and that we don't have influence and we don't have the capacity to make change. And that is simply a spell that we get to break collectively together, that we get to wake up together and have a voice and have an influence and take action, because if we don't take action, it's not going to happen. So uh, this this fight against glyphosate, or this fight um, for health, is being, and I'm not all about fighting. I'm really more about creating a more positive vision. There are lots of positively forward-facing actions that we can take. There are new means of agriculture that we can employ, like regenerative agriculture that doesn't use glyphosate and that is able to restore the soil and restore our health, you know, the health of the food that we're growing. Because as we poison our soils and we poison our foods with these pesticides and herbicides and such, it's obviously communicating to us in our physiology and generationally. So um, let's find a path to disenchantment uh, and sort of just decide to engage with things that may be uncomfortable and may be against the culturally accepted truth, because the culturally accepted truth is in many cases something that has been a spell cast upon us. And one here's another one that is a really big deal, is that we're that money is the most important thing. And I recognize that it may not be consciously the most important thing for you or for me, and the way that we exist in our culture is such that we are valued based on what we produce. And what we produce is something that's commodified. And I've spoken of this a whole lot too. Is like, you get the bigger car, get the bigger house, get the better clothes, get the designer this, get the design. It's about acquisition and things and finding our value through externals rather than by our internal experience of living and of life, and giving value to life itself rather than the doingness and the production and the commodification of it. So that's another deep enchantment, um, to be in this system that we live in. There's such insanity about it if we are able to become disenchanted. Uh, it's so much of a hamster wheel, and I've spoken of this many times, that we get to really dig in and look within to find our true values, to connect with what's really deeply important to us, and to start finding pathways to structure our lives in such a way that it honors those values and that it honors those callings of our soul, and to take action to help shape a future that reflects those highest values that we can hold and carry them forward from this generation into the next. And one of the biggest, most important things to me that I see for all of us as a life form on this planet is finding ways to create a healthy environment. And that means, in order to do that, it means shifting a lot of our priorities. I guess I was just really very deeply moved by the implications of this conversation that we had last night with Dr. Senef. And, you know, the bad news is that pre-COVID, we were on a tear to total destruction of our species, not to mention the other life forms on the planet, that we have been on a race to destruction. And the good news is that COVID hopefully gave us a bit of a pause to be able to have these moments where we can dig in more deeply to look at what our priorities are and what's important, and how we have been such a deeply consumerist society and what the ramifications of that are, and then how we can take action to make a difference. And so this is a time where there's more fluidity, there's more capability for individuals to be able to have an influence, to be able to be heard, to stop the tide that was rolling in a very fast direction. We are able to really, truly wake up from this illusion, this enchantment that we're going along and everything is fine and the values that we've held as a culture are okay. And Dido says, I love how you see disenchantment as waking up from illusion and awakening. And it is. It's time for us to wake up. And I don't get on the soapbox in this venue too often, but it really is time for us to wake up and take responsibility to shift the things that really need shifting. And uh, among many, many things that need shifting, this glyphosate thing is one of them. So going to Moms Across America is a really great place for you to go. They're very active. And I think it's momsacrossamerica.org. Um, another place that we can learn a whole lot more about glyphosate and regenerative farming and such is with Dr. Zach Bush, ZACHBUSH. I've spoken of him before. He's really brilliant and has made all kinds of correlations between the rise of disease and glyphosate and what it's doing to our soil. So it may seem like Roundup. What kind of big deal is that? I'm telling you, this is something to learn more about and to see how you can become involved in eradicating it from our paradigm, because the ramifications of it are generational. And thank you, Dido. You are the best. So Moms Across America, the link, it's momsacrossamerica.com. And I think that there's something called non-toxic neighborhoods might be a site as well that you can look into. And in the meantime, what you can do for yourself is look up. Soon our interview with Dr. Senef will be available. You might want to find other interviews from her. She's extremely knowledgeable, and she has. And look at this, Dido. You are my hero. Uh, Dido just posted a link for Dr. Zach's website with talking about glyphosate. And what we can do in the meantime is we can buy organic. And I hadn't realized how big a deal it is, how important it is to buy organic. It's not just a matter of washing your vegetables. And yes, it's more expensive still, unfortunately, but we're really talking about generational health here. Uh, so there are things that we can do. There are things that need doing, and when we are no longer under the thrall of this conventional belief, uh, when we educate ourselves to learn more, then we actually can take action. So one of the things that was very disturbing about this conversation and why I'm talking about disenchantment and waking up from an illusion is that Dr. Senef has received a lot of pressure and political, social pressure for expressing the results of her research, for communicating the results of her research. And she is going against the tide of conventional understanding. And because she has such a deep, profound conviction of the importance of waking up to the threat that this particular chemical poses to all of us, and there may be connections with COVID with it as well because of reduced immunity. It increased its susceptibility because of the use of this chemical. So I know this isn't the typical topic for this venue here, but I was just so moved that I couldn't not talk about it. And I really invite you to get engaged and get educated. It's a big deal, and we can make a difference with it. And no time like the present, right? So let's wake up. Let's let's take action. Uh, Step up, speak up. Wake up, step up, speak up. Let's do it. And I I have so much love and so much compassion for you and so much gratitude for your engagement and your desire to wake up spiritually, to heal the planet, and also hopefully to take action that is going to forward that intention uh, for yourself and for all of us. And I am grateful to you for indulging me in my soapbox here. But this is really important stuff, and it is part of the world that we're living in. So we get to play on all different kinds of playgrounds, right? Um, it's not all clearly spiritual stuff, although taking a stand for the world that we want to create is ultimately a spiritual act in my playbook. Anyway, I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and we're here on Enlightened World Network. I'm here every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, and I hope to see you again, and I hope to hear of the action you've taken to make a difference for all of us together with lots of love, lots of compassion. Have a great weekend.